I wasn't going to use schools for rivalry, but a very important decision for me every morning is what color should I wear in a turban. And I love blue, and I love red. But if there was one message I'd give to the president is to go green. So I moved here 2 years ago from Alberta, the oil sands. It's in the news this week. And one of the very first things I had to deal with on my desk was, what do we do with fossil fuels at the University of California? It's certainly an important question for everyone. And in trying to address a question like that, you sort of have to step back and say, I'm not going to make any knee-jerk reactions on what to do or try and grab any headlines, but most importantly, try and think about what is the problem we're trying to solve and how do you deal with it holistically. And the approach to do that has taken a good 2 years, and I would say we're still at the starting point in many ways of putting real dollars to work in real problems and real solutions. But our approach at the University of California has been to think about investing in climate change solutions. And this has been a theme for us over the last 2 years. We've committed what I think is a significant portion of our capital base, our balance sheet towards this. And I'm sure we'll get the opportunity to talk later on about how we want to go about doing that. But for us, the question really boiled down to this. If you take the global economy and you think about the impact of fossil fuels, 10% of the global economy is energy or energy-related services. If you bring that down for us at the University of California, my office manages the pension, the endowment, the working capital pools. That's about $100 billion. $10 billion of that, in some way, shape, or form, deals with energy or energy-related services. Not an easy question to answer when you're asked some of these questions by your stakeholders. So the approach we've taken is to commit $1 billion over the next 5 years, investing in climate change and climate change solutions. And for us, one great example of partnerships that brings together a lot of what Arun's talked about, right from where it needs to start with the innovation that's happening at great universities like Stanford and the University of California, governments, bringing them together, and then funneling that pipeline of innovation and patents and R&D finally into the commercial and private sector, all the way through to scale up. And let me end with, last night I had a company that I have funded while I was in Alberta in the wind farm space. New technology funded by some of the great VCs here in town. And the CEO just dropped in to say, I got a problem. $500 million valuation. We're running out of money in 6 months. The VCs who are marquee on my board have lost complete interest because their focus is somewhere else. Thank you for having brought the Kuwaitis and the Abu Dhabi and the New Zealanders and yourselves to the table. But I need to figure this out because we are this far away from getting that big contract with the big retailer, and it could really be a game changer. I'm 18 months away from being cash flow positive. But frankly, this does not seem to be the season in Silicon Valley to keep funding my idea. What can you do? And that was last night at 7 o'clock. So sort of very appropriate coming here today. And I'm sure we'll talk about some of the ideas I discussed with him last night about how we could potentially help in something like this. And that's really what I think the Breakthrough Energy Coalition and some of these things are all about. Let me pause there because I'm sure we'll have lots of questions.